Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny. It is Friday and of course that means the return of Xur. This also marks the second appearance of Xur for the PC audience, and you're definitely not going to want to pass up some of his gear. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as it is the flashpoint in the EDZ this week, that's where you can expect Xur. The Winding Cove is the closest landing point. Luckily, since I just started on PC, Xur is still of some value for me since I don't have a whole lot of exotics. For those new PC players out there who might be unfamiliar, Xur is a vendor that shows up in the flashpoint destination every Friday. He carries with him a selection of exotic gear that you can purchase for legendary shards. He hangs out till reset day, so you have some time to save up your shards. Anyways, let's take a look at his selection this week. Alright, so for the weapon this week, we have the Graviton Lance. A little disappointing since this is a gun that you can get during the campaign, but if you pass it up in favor of the Sunshot, which you totally should have, this is your opportunity to get it. The intrinsic perk is Black Hole, which essentially takes your third shot in the burst and adds higher impact with no damage falloff. The exotic trait Cosmology makes the enemies you kill explode, damaging enemies around them. I have a lot of mixed feelings about this gun, but we'll go over those in a little bit. Moving on to the exotic armor pieces, we start with the Young Ahamkara Spine for the Hunter, which increases trip mine grenade duration and marks enemies damaged by the blast. I'm not a huge fan of this exotic, especially since it's not as good as it was in Destiny 1. Moving on though, we have the Mask of the Quiet One, which I'm a big fan of. It's definitely one of the better Titan exotics, and it has an intrinsic perk called Dreaded Visage. Grants melee, grenade, and class ability energy when damaged, and void ability kills grant health regeneration. Very handy indeed. It definitely helps reward and reinforce your role as a tank. Finally, for the Warlock, we have Nezarec Sin. And again, this one is actually one of my favorite exotics for the Warlock. It has an intrinsic perk called Abyssal Extractors. Void damage kills increase ability energy recharge rate. And this is very effective indeed. Definitely pick this up. If you can afford one, and you are a Warlock or have a Warlock, this is the one to get. But anyways, moving on to the Graviton Lance, I find it to be a very effective pulse rifle for its archetype. I'm usually not a fan of the slow rate of fire pulse rifles, but this one can actually become very effective, especially with large crowds of enemies with its exotic perks. Although that's just because of the Cosmology perk. The Black Hole perk is where I have a little bit of an issue with, and that is because of the nature of Black Hole. The third shot does a lot more damage and is free of damage falloff, so you can shoot it from very far away, just kind of like the Hardlight. But the issue I have with the gun is that Bungie felt like they needed to balance this by increasing the amount of kick you have on the shot, which will naturally slow down how fast you can fire the weapon, which is not something you want on a weapon that is already a very low fire rate. The fix for this would have just been to make it a high rate of fire gun. That would have been pretty cool, but it would have lost a little bit of its luster. So it's a decent gun, but I'll probably never use it because there are much better exotics to use. I'll be getting it for completion purposes, but that's about it. I think pulse rifles in general need a lot of love right now, so I'm hoping that Bungie addresses this in the Season 2 Sandbox update. Anyways, let me know in the comments below if you picked anything up from Xur this week, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more Destiny content. And I will see you all next time.